Good morning and welcome to Morning Pulse, the pulse of Nigerian politics. I am Sharon Enemchuku, your host for the show. Joining me live in the studio today, I have with me Miss Genevieve Okeke. Good morning.
Good
How are you
morning.
doing?
I'm fine.
And
How are
how
you?
and how are you preparing for the
I
weekend?
can't wait for it to start.
All right, we're going straight into the stories for this morning. In Zamfara State, politics has taken a sharp turn. The APC and PDP are trading accusations over the arrest of opposition members. One party insists the arrests are based on the rule of law. The other says it is a clear case of intimidation and abuse of state power. Now, for many Nigerians, this feels familiar. Political rivalry playing out through security agencies, with ordinary citizens left to wonder whether justice is truly blind or politically guided. At the same time, a different kind of controversy is unfolding at the national level. A Sharia council has called for the removal of the INEC chairman, a move that has been firmly rejected by Kanu and other bodies. What started as criticism of electoral leadership has now grown into a wider debate about religion, constitutional authority, and the independence of Nigeria's electoral body. The concern is no longer just about INEC's performance, but about how far religious and political pressure can go in a secular democracy. Now, from politics and religion, the spotlight shifts to the judiciary. A group has come out strongly against activist Omoyele Sowore over leaked court footage circulating online. Supporters argue the footage promotes transparency. Critics say it undermines the dignity of the court and could amount to contempt. The bigger question here is balance, how Nigerians can demand openness in the justice system without weakening the very institution meant to protect the rule of law. And I would like us to start with the second story, actually, which is a group coming out to call for the impeachment of the latest INEC chairman, Joash Amopitan. Now, this is the Sharia Council, and they have come out to say that they've labeled some accusations against him and saying that they can't trust that he would conduct elections for Nigeria free and fair based off of some discrepancies that they mentioned. They also said that the Muslim community would not sort of adhere to whatever stems out or comes out of the elections conducted by Josh Amupitan, and in order to carry everybody along, including the Muslims, that they should look towards impeaching Josh Amupitan.
It's sad that this country has gotten bad to this extent where the law and voting and anything that has to do with election is being taken for granted. I mean, Josh Amupitin was elected, right,
Yeah,
to be the chairman of
he
ICANN.
was appointed.
Exactly, and I'm sure that before going for appointment, they're supposed to scrutinize him and know
Yes.
if he's fit for the will hinder you from being, up to task or being able to take a position. So it's quite alarming. It's saddening that we are still living in tribalism. I'm not going to support a Muslim. Oh, I'm a Muslim. I'm not going to support a Christian. It is very sad that we're still living in such situation. It tells the world that Nigeria, that is the supposed African giant, cannot live together.
Thing for me is the fact that they've come out to call for his impeachment, and the only election that we know he has conducted is the Anambra State election, and so far so good. We did hear so much malpractice and rigging
Exactly.
and all. So personally, I would say that if you're going to ask for anyone to be impeached, it should be when he has not carried out his duties very
Exactly.
well. I mean, even with the last INEC chairman that we had, and with everybody complaining the way and manner in which he conducted the 2023 general elections, he still was not
He was
impeached.
not
So
impeached. I was
I
even
mean,
about to
Joash
get to
Amupitan
that.
has not even, he has not even done anything, right? And
How
how
long
long
was
has he
he
been?
even
Exactly,
an
that's
ex
my point.
chairman?
How long was he? Has he been INEC chairman? When was he appointed? For him to all of a sudden see for them to see discrepancies and say they no longer want him as the INEC chairman. You see, this is why I say even in some policies and in some states that I've seen, you're especially in the northern areas, right? We're seeing religion highly infiltrating into government policies. And do you
Exactly.
think that politics in the same picture?
No, it's not going to cause a good balance. I don't even think they should be in the same picture. I
Mm,
think they should, just like we have Khan
yeah.
and then we have the Sharia law. They should be situated, stay on their own. They
Separately.
shouldn't come into politics. Is politics. Politics is talk about that. Look, you look at so many foreign countries and countries that are very, very, very stabilized. They,
Yeah.
most of them have different religions. That some of them they have one religion, but it doesn't stop them. I've never heard, oh, okay, because we
Mm,
do Buddhism and I don't do Buddha.
yeah.
I've never heard such news before.
Mm.
They focus on the
They
law. The
just
law is the law.
respect,
There's
they respect the
respect.
law.
Exactly.
It's mixed up. We're trying to infuse religion and we're trying to do that, and it's reflecting in the way we run things and in the way we do governance and all of that. So I personally would say, for this particular case, I don't think it's justifiable at
Mm.
all. I don't think it should hold water at all, because it's just too early to judge, it's just too early to say. And also I don't even appreciate the POV that they're coming from, the
Exactly.
Sharia council. If we allow this, sooner or later we're going to see them detecting what is going to be
Exactly.
law.
Speaking up and be like, oh, my really a traditionalist will come and
Yeah,
so I want a traditional man to be
exactly.
in seat. So
Yeah.
they shouldn't look at. I think the religion has to stop at the church activities or the mosque activities
Mm-hmm.
or how it is. Let's say religious activities is affecting national activities, affecting national bodies. Like let's say when we talk about when it comes to noise and rest of
To the credibility of Nigeria's democratic process.
can
And I just saw that and I thought that was the most ridiculous statement I've heard in a long while.
hmm,
Out of everything that has posed a threat to our democracy in Nigeria, I don't think the appointment of Josh Amupitan is on that
is
list at
less
all.
of it.
It is not on that list. When we talk about democracy and what has threatened our democracy, let's talk about the Muslim ticket. That is even right, because that's not even it, right? The Muslim ticket is just even maybe number 10.
Is-
Where if we are talking about things that have really threatened our democracy, right, is the fact that we have the executive infiltrating into the judiciary,
mm,
trying to influence their decisions, the court
exactly.
decisions, and we do them look to be to me, that as though they've already
They're
been
already
infiltrated.
infiltrated.
They look as though they're just tools in the hands of the executive.
Yes,
And
that's what
we
it
know when
is.
we had the discussion yesterday where we're talking about Tinubu being the government, as regards having three arms of government,
Yeah.
right? When we have situations like that, that is what really and truly threatens our democracy,
exactly.
not the
priorities. And also the people on power, whatever power, whether religious power, rural power, they tend to always try to exploit with for their personal gain. So at the end of the day, now the Sharia law is looking is not your office, this is not your church, this is not your mosque, this is not it. This is government, this is presidential, national, nationwide,
national discussion,
exactly,
national
this
business.
is
I've always been of the school of thought that a country that plays sentimental politics is not ready to go anywhere. We can't be playing sentimental politics trying to suit a particular region or whatnot. And I just think going forward, right, if we want to put things on track and let things run the way it's supposed to run, any position, especially sensitive positions, when we look at maybe, for instance, in security, right? Good positions in security. I like the fact that the Minister of Defense, we have a new Minister of Defense who we believe has the capacity to do well in that position. So when we have sensitive positions, we should not be looking at, oh, do I know this person? Is he from my side? It should be merit. It should be, if you merit a position, then you'll be given clearance to get to that position. Now, this brings us to the second story, and this one is really important, right? And it's very funny. So it's the APC and PDP. They're just trading words in a commotion. Now, we're seeing that the APC have come out to accuse the PDP in Zamfara state, one of the states that they are yet to completely rule and take over. Right now, we have over 30 states that are being ruled by the APC. So yes, that's that. Now we're seeing in Zamfara state that they have come out to accuse the PDP, especially the Zamfara government in the PDP, of using their authority to molest and abuse their own.
That's a very strong word.
Yeah, and I really thought that was ironic because it is the APC. And for so long, even on the conversation over here, we've always been saying how the APC is the party that is always trying to molest others, or people. If you're not in the APC, you're automatically a criminal, you're automatically labeled a fraudulent politician or whatnot. So it's really ironic to see that the APC has come out now to accuse the PDP of doing what
I'm going to call it dog eat dog. I mean, because you get what you deserve, you get what you dish out. I mean, they are good at doing this. So now someone is doing it to them, and they feel like, oh, they are threatened. And you know how so it is because they have not gotten power over Zamfara state yet. So this is like, God, we need to know.
And they said that they were going to do everything possible to ensure that in the next election that they clinch Zamfara state.
Imagine what a political body is saying. I mean, what is this? Where has democracy gone? I mean, we're supposed to have opposition parties. They should be able to freely exercise their rights as opposition parties. I'm not daunting on the fact that if allegedly it was true that they are molesting in their language with security bodies, I think that is something that should be looked at separately. But when it comes to defending themselves, like keeping a stance in Zamfara state, I think the PDP should carry it on and keep going, because if we don't do like this, by come 2027, there will be no opposition party at all. In fact, there will be no need for election.
Election. There will not be no, because who's going to run against you?
Look at, maybe that's even part of the plans, because so to say, many people in APC are mostly Muslims. So maybe this is part of the plan, taking away the INEC chairman, then coming in to take away the whole state and no election. APC is the presidential this thing.
It should just hand it over to Tinubu come 2027. I mean, what's the need for an election when you don't have a strong contender or a strong opposition? Now, right, what really sparked this particular story is that the APC came out to accuse the PDP of unlawfully arresting one of their members who is a social media influencer by name Bashir Gusau, popularly known as the Ambassador. Now, he said he was arrested on Wednesday and he was picked up by people who claim they were the DSS, which is interesting because, you know, we've been having the discussions and we're saying how the DSS are now tools, the EFCC are tools in the hands of the executive. So, according to them, he was picked up by the DSS, and when they try to track him, they can't, right? They can't track his movements. They don't know where he is. They don't know his whereabouts, which has sparked this accusation and this particular story. And I would just say, I just think it's ironic, and I'm actually begging the opposition at this point to sit up and know what they're doing. Yeah. The way and manner we've been seeing defections, the way and manner people have been running to the APC, it is scary. Very scary. There will be no need for an election come 2027 if we don't have opposition.
When a country that doesn't have opposition candidates and there's no election, it's no longer democracy. It's definitely monarchy, I guess. Like it's not even monarchy because they're not giving their it's not hereditary. They're not giving ownership to their kids.
It's like autocracy or tyranny. Exactly. Yes. I think that's what it is, and that is not democracy. So really, if I was to say anything to the Shara Council, this is what threatens our democracy, not the INEC chairman's appointment. And right, the fact that the APC in Zamfara State have come out to promise that they're going to do everything possible to clinch Zamfara State. I think other opposition parties should. But do you even think that the PDP would still be able to hold on to Zamfara State in the next election?
I think that if I've said it before, if they properly plan themselves, because I feel like from now to 2027, there's still enough time to correct something that will bring you out to the limelight. But going about it like this, taking the APC, one of their members and all that, I don't think it's the right way to go about it. They need to step up their game, do the big things, not going to kidnap, going to take somebody and allegedly molest them. That is not what they should be looking at. They should be looking at keeping their self standing. You know, the big doors.
Developing grassroots connections and
especially merging with the people. Because one thing I've noticed about the candidates that are Muslim, maybe coming from APC or whatsoever party, they do have strong grounds with their Muslim people. They have strong grounds with their citizens wherever. Like if it's in Kaduna now, Kaduna governor, whoever that is coming out, they usually used to come out and grasp the people. Like the people have their back,
and that is the way P2B was able to shock everybody in 2023.
So, please, opposition parties, merge with your people, merge with the place that you are, merge with them. If you are able to do that, the presidential candidate that is going to come out from the opposition, any opposition party, merge with them. Merge with them, like merge with
form an alliance.
Form an alliance. You know, do the big things. Don't just do the big things.
And then I really love that you mentioned alliances, because ahead of the 2027, we've really seen the APC fight towards forming an alliance with everybody that is anybody in politics.
I'm telling you.
Making that alliance with people who they know will give them that strong backing. So it's all about building your background and making sure you have people that are solid behind you, and which is something the opposition is failing woefully at, because they're fighting themselves, they're trying to pull each other down, they're having one court case to the other, going to court on Monday, fighting on Tuesdays. And when you have such character and you're having this type of unnecessary back and forth barely a year before the elections, I don't think you can stand a chance at a party that is united and doing everything possible to ensure that they have that. Even if they're not united, you see the thing about I would call it keeping up appearances, even though it's not true. We don't know what's going on in the APC. Nobody really knows. You can't hear anything. They might be having disagreements. They might, because even with the Wike situation, it's just with that Wike situation that I saw, okay, there are some factions in the APC that do not like this man. There are some factions that want him in. But apart from that, aside that, we've really not heard
unlike
about
PDP
anything.
that you come today, they are fighting
everything to the public. And I don't think that is how you do politics in Nigeria. I really don't think that is the way to go. But we're moving to the last and final story for today. Talking about Suri for the first time this year, we are seeing that a Northern Ethnic Youth Group Assembly has come out to call for Suri to be further prosecuted, stating the fact that Suri released or leaked a video footage of the court proceedings revealing a DSS staff or DSS member. Now he's saying that they're saying that the DSS is a secret service, and the official that he exposed is a secret service agent, and because of that, his identity should be protected at all costs, seeing that they have been sworn under a strict oath. Now, he said that this particular footage that Suri released, it borders on contempt of court because of that, and breaching national security as well, right? So the fact remains that Suri is still in court for cyber crimes, accusations, and all of that, even from last year, panning until now. And I think I know the video they're even talking about. There's a video where I think it was Suri's lawyer that was questioning a DSS personnel and asking him, oh, do you have, just trying to get clearance and all of that. And that's the video that people saw. So now they have come out to call for further prosecution on a different level. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I would say if the DSS sworn an oath on national level that they are DSS secret service, I don't even think you're supposed to know the people that are working there. Definitely, I think Sowore really overstepped his boundaries by sharing an image about that person or about whatever happened in that courtroom. So if we are going to look at it on the DSS side, I think he has every right for his image to be protected. I think whatever happens should be inside the court and only inside the court, since it's dealing with something that is secret service in a way. Yeah,
I get that, and I do understand that point of view. The fact that if they have been sworn to an oath, secret service, no problem, they should be protected at all costs. But also, I really will not agree with this group that has called for, that's come out to say things like, oh, this is a grave breach of national security and all of that. I will always say that, right? If you're saying things like this, you should look at the numbers, look at people who have really breached national security, right? And the fact that Sowore is someone that is always speaking against the government, I just feel it is a means to shut him up, or a means to silence people from coming out to say what they want to say, express themselves. I just have a problem with the fact that if this pulls through, if this is followed through, it would mean that people can no longer express themselves. And in a country where there is no longer freedom of speech, that is another thing that threatens our democracy, because at the bane of democracy is freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of life, and all of our human rights and all of that. So that is the bane for me, right? If we do not not have freedom of speech, then we can as well be North Korea, or these countries that ban communication and they chop your head off if you say anything about the ruling party or the person in power. I just think we're heading towards that route. But do you agree or disagree?
I think I would agree. That's why I said, when you asked me this question, I just talked based on the fact of the DSS. But when it comes down to the in-person area and everything, just like you said, they are really trying to infringe on his right, because they know that he is someone that he's ready for war, he's ready for anything. Like, he is ready to say his mind, be it even if you're going to take him to court 20 times, he is ready. So they're finding a way to shut it down completely. At the end of the day, I think we said this yesterday, the government really, they hate when they are being criticized and scrutinized, so they always find ways of shutting that mouth up. That's what the government always try to do. They find ways of shutting the mouth that is saying
against. If you're not singing their praises, you're not their friend.
You're not their friend.
And that is not government. That is also not democracy. And I think if we're trying to achieve a balance, if we're trying to work on good governance, I think your disposition to criticism will be very different, or to critics, right? It would be very, very different, because you want to hear how you're doing, how well you think people perceive you, where you can change, where you can make amends.
From there, you can even guess
you
what
can
is
bet that. So I think if a government is not concerned about critics, or if they're not concerned about feedback, and always calling it there's a certain phrase they say it's not backed by facts, this is misinformation, or just blowing up the facts. They're always using things like that. If a government is always, if that is your reaction to critics, I don't think you want to do better. I don't think you want to learn. I don't think you want to grow on how to serve your people. I just think you're looking for an oh yes type of citizen. It's where everybody says yes, everybody loves you, right?
In simple terms, you just call it tyranny, because in tyranny, people's word don't matter. It's what you say that matters. Even your officials that are under you, they don't have a say. It's what the king or whoever is in power, that's whatever he says goes. So that's what Nigeria is turning into. You're turning into a country where you speak, your police officer will stop you, and you're like, get out from the car. You're like, why are you? I want to. Next thing, they're slapping you.
I just remember something. You talked about police officers, and there's something that I've noticed. They're always, if you meet a police officer and you dare say, I know my rights, it always triggers them. Oh, you think you know your rights? You think you can speak English? The fact that knowing your right is a big deal, or it's a trigger, it sets them off completely, is something that I can never understand. Because at the end of it all, are we not supposed to know our rights? Are we not supposed to defend our rights, right? And there's something also when you watch movies and you see when the police arrest people, immediately they read off their rights. Or you have the right to remain silent. Okay, I think we also do it as well. You have the right to remain silent. And in situations where the police officers don't read off your rights while you're being arrested, they can also be called out for that.
Exactly.
You have to read out the person's right.
You don't go to someone's house without a search warrant. You can't even arrest somebody without a Nigerian
police officers that. Tell them.
Coming to arrest somebody, you need to have. I'm telling you, like, I've watched movies, and I know this is happen in well-stabilized countries. A criminal, they know that this person is the person that did this, but before you go into that person, you still need to get a warrant,
or even because there are some cases where they don't need that warrant. The criminal case. But there are also situations that I've seen that they don't go for these arrests except they have evidence.
Exactly.
Even though it might be blaring and glaring that this person actually if you don't have evidence to substantiate those facts, it would not fly. They won't go ahead to arrest you. And this is why I think the police actually have to, the police have to do better by long stick. By long yard. They really need to sit up and do better by the people and by themselves as well, because they're going to be someone's they have a legacy to leave out, right? They are people's fathers, people's mothers, and generally I just think they can do so much better than they're already doing. right now. But
Yeah.
this is where we're going to wrap it up on the conversation. Thank you very much,
Thank
Genevieve,
you.
for joining me on the show. If you're watching for the first time, you just watched Morning Pulse and Active Citizens, where we discuss Nigerian politics. If you're yet to subscribe, please endeavor to do that and follow us across all social media at Active Citizens. Till we see you later today, do have a good morning.